Hi, my name is Rob Knight, and welcome to Tips and Settings for the Olympus E-M1X. This first tip is probably the one that I use the most. I'm going to show you how to use the function lever on the back of the camera to easily switch between autofocus modes while you're shooting. One of the great things about the E-M1X to me, as a nature photographer especially, is all the different ways that you can set up the autofocus modes. And by default, you can do that by pushing the little joystick, the autofocus joystick here. If you push that in, now I can move my focus point around, but I can also, notice right here, that tells you that the front dial can change how the focus points are set up. Okay, so that tells you how many focus points you're going to let the camera use, and that goes a long way towards how the autofocus performs and how fast it goes specifically. So if I'm shooting wildlife and I've got a bird that's stationary, then that's going to be what I'm going to do. I'm going to choose exactly the focus point that I want to use, put that on the bird's eyeball, and go at it. So that way the camera doesn't have to figure out where to focus or what to focus on. I tell it exactly where to go, use that center point or whichever point I want to spot focus. Now, what about when that bird goes to take flight and I'm going to track him and I'm going to try to shoot him while he's flying? Trying to keep that one spot on the bird is really tough. So what I was doing when I first got the E-M1X and I was trying to sort of mitigate this problem is I would hit the center button and then turn the front dial and go to something like 3x3 or 5x5. So I've got a larger area that the autofocus is trying to watch. But now the other problem is, now I'm going to switch from single autofocus to continuous autofocus, right? If I've got the stationary bird on the branch, I'm going to shoot here and I'm going to use single autofocus, single shot AF, so that it's going to lock focus on the bird and that's it. Now when the bird goes to take flight, of course, I'm going to use a wider area of the screen to focus on, and I want to continuously autofocus so the camera can help me to track the bird. So it's kind of a pain to go back and forth. It's not impossible. I can press the OK button, go to the live control panel, go right in here and choose from SAF to CAF, from single shot autofocus to continuous autofocus. I can go right here and I can choose how many focus points I want to use. I don't want to do that, right? I want it easy for me to switch back and forth. So I'm a big nerd and I'll read the manual of a camera, especially a camera like the E-M1X that has so many options for customization, so many bells, so many whistles. So I want to know what all that stuff does so that I can let this tool help me make the pictures that I want to make, right? So this is the setting that I figured out. So check this out. I've got the function lever up here, and it's got the little 1 and the 2 here around the FN button. And so notice when I bring up the super control panel, I'm on little single point focus and single AF. Now when I switch to 1, now I hit that. Now lo and behold, I'm in a 3x3 square and continuous autofocus. Pretty cool, right? So let's say I've got an owl on a branch and he's just sitting there and he's looking for something for dinner. Okay, cool. I can switch to the number 2 setting. Now I've got single autofocus and you're just using one single point, so I'll put that point where I want it. I can take pictures of the owl, and then I notice, oh, he sees something on the ground, he's about to fly. All I have to do is switch here. Now I've got the 3x3 grid and continuous autofocus, and I can switch back and forth whenever I need to. Awesome, right? So it's easy to set this up. I'm going to show you how to do it. You're going to hit the menu button down here on the bottom. Okay. Now I'm going to start in the custom menu, and I'm going to go down to B1, and then within B1 I'm going to go to FN lever function, and I'm going to select mode 2. And it's pretty handy. It tells you what all the different modes are, because mode 2, mode 3, mode 1, that doesn't mean anything to me. So it'll explain what the different modes are. So mode 2 switches the autofocus and the autofocus target mode according to the function lever position, and the target can be selected. Great. So that's what we're going to do. And then it's as easy then as just using the super control panel and deciding how you want your autofocus. So I've got this in the number 1 setting. So whatever changes I make now affect that number 1 setting. If I change it to a 5x5 grid and say OK, now I switch to the number 2 on the dial, and I've still got my single point, single autofocus. When I switch back to the number 1, now I've got my 5x5 grid with continuous autofocus. And if I want to adjust that, depending on what I'm shooting, then I can go from there. But for me, that is the easiest way to switch your different autofocus modes from continuous, if you're using continuous tracking in some cases, and single focus in another. That's a great way to use this really handy, easy button. Even if you're using back button focus or not, that's a great way to switch between your focus modes with just the flip of a switch. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions about the E-M1X, about some settings that you're wondering about or functions that you don't know how to use, drop me a line in the comments, or you can email me at rob@robknightphotography.com, and I'll try to answer any questions you may have. I'll see you next time.